Stories as only he can. Johnny boy, Johnny Garfield, yeah.
Thank you. Dismissed. Members of the opposition, I thought we'd open up this time with a little bit of culture, just to suit the time of the day, the evening, while you're eating prawns. I thought a little poem. There was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile, who found a crooked sixpence and stuffed up the Zack machine. What about a conundrum? The answer to the conundrum is cock robin. That is, the answer to the conundrum is cock robin. And the conundrum is, what's that you've got up my ass, Batman? Do you know, just after that... Thank you, linesman. Thank you, ball boys. Just after that bomb scare, I've come back into the club, and there was a bloke. I would appreciate a bit of shush, because I haven't heard some of these. And I'm coming back into the club, and there was a bloke walking out with a poker machine under his arm. And I thought, he's not supposed to be doing that. So I went over and I said, where you going? He said, I'm taking it home. I said, you're not supposed to do that. He said, won it in the raffle inside. I said, they don't raffle the poker machines. He said, it was only the second prize. I said, shit, what was the first prize? He said, 2 years on the committee. Oh, it's all right, I didn't want to work here again anyway. What about this big Negro fella? Big Negro fellow arrives at the pearly gates. And St. Peter said, now before we let you in, we've got to find out if you've done anything brave or heroic. He said, now were you in either world wars?
No, boss.
Oh. Vietnam or Korea?
No, boss.
Oh, he said, I don't think we can let you in. He said, have you ever saved anybody from drowning?
No, boss.
Rescued anybody from a burning building?
No, boss.
Ever got me a ventriloquist with a dummy 20 feet away? Listen, there's a bus leaving in 10 minutes. Be under it. So St. Peter said, I don't think we can let you in. Have you done anything brave or heroic?
He said, well, I stuffed a white woman in front of 300 Ku Klux Klan members.
He said, shit, when was that? He said,
2 minutes ago.
What about a show in England called 20 Questions, where a panel of guests tries in 20 questions to guess a secret object? And one of the recent shows went something like this. Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to your favourite quiz program on BBC of 20 Questions. Now, we're going to ask our panel a little later on, and incidentally, our panel this evening includes some of the lords and ladies of our realm who have kindly condescended to be on the program this evening. We're going to ask them a little later on to try and guess the object in 20 questions. Right now, we're crossing over to the soundproof booth, and the offstage announcer will let the viewers at home and the viewers in the audience know what the secret object is. Over to the soundproof booth. Tonight's secret object is a nigger's cock. I told you you'd get a mention, didn't I? a nigger's cock. All right, then now, the viewers at home and the viewers in the audience know what the secret object is. I'm going to ask our panel now to try and guess the object in 20 questions. Now, before the panel ask their first question, I can tell them this much. The object we're looking for is animal tending on vegetable. All right, then let's see. Lady Carlingford Smythe. Perhaps you'd care for the first question? Fine. And so to ask the first question on 20 questions this evening, Lady Carlingford Smythe. And she stood up and she said, "Could you eat it?" He said, "Well, I suppose you could." She said, "Is it a nigger's cock?" Oh, make you sick, wouldn't it? That's like the bloke. Went to the doctors. And he said, "Doctor," he said, "I reckon I would dead set, walk up, start, lay down my ear, have the ugliest prick you've ever seen." The doctor said, "I married your sister." No, he didn't. No, I only made that up. So he said, the doctor said, "Well, you better give us a look at it." So he turfs it out. And the doctor goes, "Oh," he said, "I think you're right." He said, "I've seen better Zerbricks than that." He said, "That's not too good at all, is it?" No. He said, "Look," he said, "about the best thing I can do, I'll give you a script for the chemist. Get this cream knocked up, rub it on twice a day, and come back and see me in 6 weeks, and we'll see how it's going. All right, then? Fine." So he lodged back in... Thank you, sir. If I want any shit, I'll squeeze your head. So he said, "Get this cream, rub it on twice a day, and come back and see me in 6 weeks." So he lobs back in 6 weeks. He was overdue. He's from Queensland. So he said, "Give us a look." So he turns it out. Oh, he said, "That's a marked improvement." "Yes," he said, "that's fine. Yes, it's certainly coming along nicely. Cream's certainly doing its work." "Oh," he said, "haven't used the cream." He said, "How come the improvement?" He said, "Funny thing, I left here 6 weeks ago. I went into a public toilet. I'm in there having a piss. There's a bloke next to me having one. And when he'd finished, he sort of shook it." He said, "For years I've been ringing the bastard out." If I may just interrupt for a moment. Why should I? I remember you here 6 years ago. I never forget a shirt. But that bloke from Queensland, Russell Hines, or Hines, or whatever variety of name he had, who last year suggested let's have capital punishment back in Australia. It's a nice step ahead, isn't it? Firing squads, he said. Could you picture a firing squad in Australia? Here's the prisoner. Keep it up and we'll get a few candidates tonight. Here's the prisoner, his hands behind his back. There's 4 blokes at the other end, all at the ready. Sombreros, drooping moustaches, guns up here. And the head serang goes up with his Wilkinson in his hand. Oh, very chic he was. And other cutting remarks. Walked up to this bloke and he said, "Would you like a blindfold?" Bloke said, "No." "Oh, cigarette?" He said, "No, I'm trying to give him up." Well, he could have said, "Must we dance?" He said, "No," he said, "You've got to have a last request before we pull the triggers on the firing squad. Would you like a last meal?" The bloke said, "No." He said, "A drink?" He said, "No." He said, "Oh, come on, you bastard, be in the fun. Have a request." The bloke said, "I wouldn't mind singing." He said, that's a funny request on a firing squad, singing. He said, still it's your prerogative, all right? Singing it is. Don't pull the triggers until he finishes his song. So the prisoner stood up to sing his very last song, and he went, 267,493,367 green buttons hanging on the wall. Ah, dear, what about that? I was almost going to do my magic act. You'd like that? I'd push a rabbit into my hand and pluck a hair out of my ass. What about this bloke stood up in the House of Lords in England and he said, what are we going to do about the homosexual bill? Another bloke stood up and he said, we'll have to pay it. Of course, you know how they separate the men from the boys in England with crowbars. Yes, of course I do. Look at this place walking down the street at King's Cross. Now, you all know King's Cross, don't you? Don't you know Oh, the Disneyland for adults in Australia. Here's this bloke walking down the street at King's Cross, and a bloke's hand comes out of a doorway and grabs hold and says, hi, dolls, there you go. So get out of it, you mongrel. Walk down the street a bit further, another bloke grabbed hold of him. He's gone 200 yards down this street. 15 different blokes have tried to get off with him. So he went up to the copper on duty on the corner. He said, hey! He said, I've just walked 200 yards down this street. 15 different blokes have tried to get off with me. What do you reckon I should do? And the copper said, stay out of our street. Now, when I did that in the police club... No, I did, really. When it used to be open, I did that in the police club. And I told them a few others that I did one about the English Bobby, come home off the beat, hung his helmet up on the hat rack in the hallway, walked into the bedroom, and there's 3 blokes in bed with his missus. He said, hello, 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 and she said, aren't you talking to me? Then there's this bloke driving his car around London, and a bobby pulls him up. He said, where you going? He said, Whitehall. He said, what's your name? He says, Ben Hall. He said, what kind of car you drive? He says, a Vauxhall. He said, what have you got in the boot? And he said, nothing. No, he didn't say that. No, you said that. But this bloke driving his car 85 miles per hour along the street, and a copper pulls him over, and he gets out the car, and he's doubled up. He said, I'm busting. I'm looking for a shit house. And the copper said, you just found one. What's your name and address? So when I did these at the police club, they were marvellous. They come up to me afterwards, it's the funniest thing we've ever seen. Fancy get up to the police club and rubbish in the coppers, that's terrific. Have a drink, which is more than's happening here. Now they should have a bucket of brandy, a schooner of scotch, anything you want. So I left the police club that morning about 4 o'clock, drove away from the curb. Thank you, sir. So I left the police that morning about 4 o'clock, drove away from the curb, next thing, sorry, pull over, driver. Now, I'm pretty easy to get on with at 4 o'clock in the morning. So when this copper said, pull over, driver, I immediately thought to myself, I'll be in this, I'll stop. So I went out of the car. So I got out of the car with the steering wheel in my hand. He said, you just round the police club having a go at the coppers? I said, yeah. He said, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Fancy getting at the police club and rubbish the coppers. It's terrific. It's the best night I've ever had in the police club. Blow in the bag. I said, hang on, I was only kidding. He said, no, it was funny, blow in the bag. I said, no. He said, blow in the bag. He said, blow in the bag. I said, why? He said, me chips are hot. Now, if you'd like the cure for the breathalyzer, when they say breathe into the plastic bag, all you do is inhale and suck the crystals out. Now, your face will go green, but the bag will be perfect. What about this bloke, 11:30, one Saturday night, raced into a fish and chip shop and he said, "Have you got any fish and chips left?" Bloke said, "Yes, it serves you right for cooking so many." Another drunk staggers into one of these hamburger-type joints. There's a girl behind the counter, and he staggered in. He said, "Guess half a dozen piss elsewhere." She said, "I beg your pardon." I said, "Guess half a dozen piss elsewhere." She said, "That's R, not P." He said, "Guess half a dozen arse elsewhere." This bloke went into a hamburger joint and he said to the bloke behind the counter, "I want a special hamburger, mate." Bloke said, "Love to help you out. How would you like it made?" He said, "Well, look, whack the bun under the toaster. Do it like charcoal on one side. Don't touch the other side." He said, "I don't want butter, meadow, lee, stalk, fairy, none of that." He said, "Just want a bit of lard." He said, "Now the meat, I don't want steak. Just a bit of sausage meat and half cook it, leave it raw in the middle. Whack it on the bun." He said, "The tomato's got to be real gone off green. The lettuce has got to be the same way. A double yolk egg that's gone off a bit. Top it off with tomato sauce, must be Rosella, because that's the one you got to build L out of the bottom of the bottle. I want that as thick as you can right round the edge of the egg so that when I squeeze the whole thing together, it's all going to squirt out and go all over me good suit." The bloke said, "I can't do that, sir." He said, "Why not, you bastard? You did it yesterday." We're back to the sickness routine now. Feeling a bit crook, eh? What about this bloke laying in a hospital bed during the war and the medical officer came along, picked up a chart off the end of the bed. He said, "Good morning, Private Smith." "Good morning, Doctor. How are your bowels this morning?" "Oh," he said, "wasn't issue with any." He said, No. He said, "I mean, are you constipated?" He said, "No, I joined of my own free will." "Good heavens, man," he said, "are you illiterate?" He said, "No, that's me brother." He said, "I was born after Mum and Dad got married." "Good Lord, man," he says, "don't you know the King's English?" He said, "Hope he is. I've been fighting for the bastard for 4 years." He says, No. What I mean to say is, did you shit?" He said, "No, I thought it was you. It must have been the bastard in the next bed. He must have done." What about the woman went into the doctor? She said, "Doctor, all my husband thinks of are two things. Coffee and sex. Sex and coffee, coffee and sex, sex and coffee, coffee." He said, "What's his occupation?" She said, "He's in the regular army." "I see. I suppose he comes on leave once in a while." She said, "Yes, he does, as a matter of fact." And the doctor said, "How long's his furlough?" She said, "Oh, about that long." He said, "No, I mean, how long's he off for? It's only long enough to make the coffee." What about this young fellow went down to join the army? When he lobs, there's a lady doctor doing the examinations. She says, "Righto, drop your tweeds." "Oh," he said, "not in front of a Sheila." She said, "These little things don't bother me. Now drop your tweeds." After a lot of arguing, he finally dropped his tweeds. So she grabbed the left agate. She said, "Say 99. He said, "99. Grabbed the right one. She said, "Say 99. He said, "99. Took the big grab. She said, "Say 99. He says, 1, 2, 3, 4. 99, 100. Your old man would have been better doing that. Oh, rude. What about this bloke? He said to his mate, he said, "Listen," he said, "every time we go out somewhere," he said, "and you see a bird," he said, "next thing you're off with her. With, doing all that." He said, "How do you manage that?" He said, it's the art of conversation. He said, what do you talk about? He said, anything at all. He said, the weather, fashion, the football scores, race results, anything at all. Look, he said, there's a blonde sitting over there on her own. Go and have a chat with her. So this bloke gets up and he goes over towards her. She gets up and goes to the powder room. He said, see that? She saw me coming, she shot through. He said, she's only gone to the powder room. Now go and have a chat with her. Go and stand outside the door. When she comes out, strike up a conversation with her. He said, what'll I talk about? He said, anything at all. Talk about a dress, anything at all. Just go and talk to her. So he goes and stands outside the powder room. Out she comes. He says, enjoy your shit. The age of the smooth talker. I wonder if I could set a little scene for you. I want to set a little scene for you. Now, if you could just picture one of these establishments where the girls work at King's Cross in places which, according to the police, do not exist. And this girl is leaning out of the window, 3 stories up. And there's a bloke tearing off up the street, going for his life. That's the scene, and here's the dialogue. Stop that man! Stop him! Stop that man! And there's a big bloke walking up the street, sees this fella coming, so he grabs him. What's the matter, lady? He didn't pay me! He didn't leave any money! And the bloke said, I left 20 cents under the clock. That wouldn't cover it. Neither would a garbage tin lid. Oh, here's a little one. This is from television. Somebody asked me after doing the John Wayne to do another impersonation. What about Frank Fontaine, who was talking to Joe the bartender and his mate, Mr. Donaghy? Thank you, sir. You must have had 2 pricks as a kid. You couldn't get that stupid playing with one. And so Frank Fontaine, as Crazy Guggenheim, is talking to Joe the bartender.
Hi, Joe. Oh, Mr. Donaghy. Donny Donaldson and Moriarty the Undertaker and me was going fishing, Joe. Just the 3 of us. So we sent Donny Donaldson down to get the booze. You know what he came back with for 3 fellas? He came back with 4 18-gallon kegs, 6 9-gallon kegs, 16 dozen bottles of beer, 4 bottles of Hilo, 16 bottles of Bacardi, and 17 bottles of Scotch, and 2 sandwiches. The stupid bastard spent all the money on the food.
Gentlemen, with the assistance of the orchestra, who are now filing back onto the stage. File. Reverend Brown, first up. Oh, yeah, they're all here. Full set. Oh, good, yeah. You better stand up. They think you're a gadget. I'm working with me foot. I'm going to a fancy dress ball next Friday night. If you want to come along, we could fill your mouth with water and you goes to fucking Warragamba Dam. Gentlemen, thanks very much. We've sort of run a bit short of time with the bomb scare and everything, and we're all confirmed. No, we haven't really got time. Gosh. Now, you've heard this before anyway. It's only the song I do everywhere I go. I'll be quite honest with you. Now, you're such a good audience. I know two songs. One is Carolina in the Morning and the other one isn't. Any requests? All right, we'll do that. Nothing could be finer than it being Carolina in the morning. And no one could be sweeter, tell my sweetie when I need her in the morning. When the morning lovely, when I round it all, whispering pretty stories, I wanna hear you once more. A dolly with my girlie, we're a doing party alley in the morning. A butterfly, I think it's a little buttercup darling. If I had a Latin lamp only a day, I'd make a wish and hear what I say. Oh, nothing could be sweeter than to be Carolina in the morning. Nothing could be finer than to be Carolina in the morning. Oh, it could be sweeter than my sweet when I meet her in the morning. Oh, where the morning lovers are going around the world, whispering pretty stories. I long to hear once more. All of my baby rabbits is funny, I mean, oh, flutter, flutter up, and get it a little buttercup of darling. If I had a lot of love all these days, I'd make a wish and hear what I say. Oh, mother, could be finer than to be Carolina in the morning.
Johnny Garfield, yeah? Johnny Garfield, yes?